Some people question whether Shakespeare really wrote the works that bear his name, or whether he even existed at all.
We have a marriage record for Shakespeare to Anne Hathaway in 1585. We also have baptism records for a daughter and a set of twins. And we also know that his son, Hamnet, one of the twins, died.
Shakespeare moved to London in the late 1580s. By the early 1590s, we know he's writing, and we know that he's acting.
Not a single manuscript or poem was ever found in William Shakespeare's own handwriting, not even a letter. And this from a man who is known to have divided his time between London and Stratford. Wouldn't that normally have produced a vast amount of correspondence? If you're away from home for so long, maybe a little note to his wife asking, "How are the kids?" The largest literary hunt in history produced not a single handwritten note of William Shakespeare. Strange, right?
Some people question whether Shakespeare really wrote the works that bear his name, or whether he even existed at all.
Then, of course, there's the Globe Theatre. Its deeds show that its then owner, Shakespeare, was the same lad from Stratford. Claims that he was only ever mentioned as an actor are not wholly substantiated. Beyond the theatre, it's clear he received huge critical acclaim. John Davis's 1610 poem, The Scourge of Folly, describes him as our English Terence, then another word for playwright.
So how does stylometry work? The idea is that each writer's style has certain characteristics that remain fairly uniform among individual works. If enough works of Francis Bacon fall within the Shakespearean variants, that would be pretty strong evidence that Francis Bacon and Shakespeare are actually the same person.
With only 6 surviving signatures, each a barely legible scrawl, can we even be sure that William Shakespeare had the dexterity to write one play, let alone 37?
What did the results show? Well, the stylometrists who carried this out have concluded that Shakespeare is none other than Shakespeare. The bard is the bard. Intrepid statisticians did find some compelling evidence of collaborations. For instance, one recent study concluded that Shakespeare worked with playwright Christopher Marlowe on Henry VI, parts 1 and 2.
When we're comparing the 3 parts of Henry VI to the Marlowe profile, they're much, much closer than, say, comparing the Marlowe profile to some of Shakespeare's later plays, where we know that Marlowe was not a candidate of these plays. And by seeing that typically a Marlowe profile would be so far away from a Shakespeare play, and then to see it so close to a Shakespeare play, even closer than Shakespeare in many cases, suggests a lot that Marlowe might have had a hand in this.
What did the results show? Well, the stylometrists who carried this out have concluded that Shakespeare is none other than Shakespeare. The bard is the bard.
A growing academic contingent, including scholars O.J. Todd and William Rubinstein, claims the 37 plays, 154 sonnets, and 5 poems he's credited with were actually someone else's work. It's very likely that Shakespeare attended local King Edward VI grammar school because his father held an official magistrate position. The school gave an unusually rigorous education including Latin, classical text, and astronomy. Given this, his breadth of knowledge isn't that surprising.
No records prove that Shakespeare ever attended the Stratford Grammar School. Yet the work of William Shakespeare, the writer, shows extensive knowledge of medicine, astronomy, art, music, military, law, and philosophy, as well as aristocratic activities such as royal tennis and falconry. Call me a snob, but even if he was a genius, he couldn't have pulled that one off without leaving at least a trace of his learning. After all, William Shakespeare had the largest English vocabulary of any writer in history. Not quite grammar school level, I would say.
That Shakespeare is none other than Shakespeare. The bard is the bard.